All righty. Welcome, Mr. Bare Naked Mark Wille. How are you doing today, my friend?
BS Friday Live, Dave. You know I'm excited, brother.
I know it. Look at her glasses, man. You got the BS Friday glasses on. We're going to have an awesome show for you today. So if you are just tuning in, we want to thank you because we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. So if you are watching this live, we want to thank you. If you're watching the rerun on the weekend with Coffee with Dave or whenever, thank you for that as well. Today is about building science. Today is about sick houses, Mark. We've talked about this, and I see Cheryl in the audience. And yes, Cheryl, I owe you a return phone call. My apologies. But we are talking about sick houses again. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, it's a subject that needs to be discussed, right? The impact of this is far-reaching that then hits the media circuits. We know this from our professions. We know this from our friends and family, and the voice and the word about this is getting out.
That's right. It is getting out. And it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. This affects everybody. And I think this is super important to understand that maybe your kids do not have allergies. Maybe you do not have migraine headaches because you have some chemical imbalance in your body. Maybe you're all tired and lethargic, not because you don't work out. We're going to talk about Killer House here in just a moment. Mark, I just can't say it enough with Cheryl Seco in the audience and others. This is a big topic. This is not only a crisis here in the United States, but it's actually a global crisis that people need to address and understand.
That's right. Water in all of its forms, right? Keep that, right. As someone we know very well says all the time, keep that water going down and out. Keep it away. You want water? Put it in a refillable mug. That's where it goes.
That's right. That's right. All right, so why don't we jump into this? We got a big show. Mark, why don't we talk about Shemane Nugent just for a second, right? Here we have somebody that not only almost died because of her house, she was she still is an exercise teacher, right? You know, fitness, yoga, all of those things. In fact, she was doing about 50 push-ups before she even came on the show. This was a healthy person, and their house almost killed him. So why don't we bring her on and let her tell her story? What do you think?
Let's get going, brother. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well. All right, we have Shemane Nugent in the house. How you doing, Shemane?
Hey, guys. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being on the show. I do realize how busy you are. I mean, you're on with politicians and the news, and you got all this stuff going. But this is really something that's close to your heart. And Mark and I found this out over and over with people on the show. People become very passionate about things when something happens to them, their family, and they find out why. And that's something that happened with you, right?
Right. My home that was once featured on MTV Cribs was contaminated with toxic mold between the walls. We never saw anything. We just kept getting sicker and sicker. And like you just said, Dave, a few minutes ago, I was getting debilitating migraines. I went to dozens of different doctors and nobody could help me. So I had to become my own investigative sleuth. And we discovered that the mold was growing between the walls due to a building construction problem called flashing. And so I'm on a mission from God to help spread awareness. I created a documentary for that. And I want to talk about this and bring awareness to this terrible issue.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and you did create a documentary with your own funds. That's how important it was to you that you put this together, and it's an awesome thing. And we're going to share all those links to it. Shemane, how did you realize that your home was making you sick? Let's kind of get the background on this. I'm going to put you full screen. Tell the story of how this started affecting your life and what happened with you and your son. And how did you guys really start realizing that, you know, there's something else going on in your house? It wasn't something personally with you.
Well, as you mentioned, I've been teaching group fitness classes for 40 years, since 1980, and I was a state champion swimmer twice. I was an athlete. I was actually named Detroit's most physical female. So here I am, healthy, and I had owned my own aerobics studio, teaching about 12 to 15 high-intensity classes per week, and yet I felt terrible. I should have been the walking poster child for health and fitness, and there were days that I couldn't get out of bed, and I was popping migraine medication like M&Ms. And I happen to love M&Ms. But I knew that wasn't good for me. And I went to dozens of different doctors and nobody could help me. And nobody suggested that it was, and this was back in the year 2000, 2001, 2002. So mold was not a hot topic back then. People are just starting to wake up about it now. But the thing that was the clincher for us is that my husband, Ted Nugent, rock and roll musician Ted Nugent, when I was with him and we'd go on tour, we felt good. Even in London, the rainiest city in the world, we felt good. We came home, we never slept. I got debilitating migraines. We both had fibromyalgia, like joint pain, brain fog, so many different things. So the health issue was the biggest issue. And then, as you said, it started affecting our son, Rocco. And the mama bear came out in me, not 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 me.
Looks like we have an audio problem there, Mark. So, we'll let Shemane fix whatever she has going on that end there. But I mean, she's absolutely right. Like the protective side of family come out and really, obviously they want to protect what's going on with their siblings. And when you start getting sick and they start getting sick, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, the sleuth part hits home for me, right? And she states, protective mama, of course, right?
Yeah.
And so noting the difference in their health and behaviors when they traveled, and I'm sure they had, a arduous schedule, right?
Yeah.
That is a pinpoint to it not being you, it's your environment. And we know, Dave, that it's often the environment. And when you don't know that, right, you're grasping for everything, right? Your eyes wide open,
Yeah.
as they say. And so that's why her voice is so powerful, so that other folks take this example and they don't have to search for it.
That's right.
It's a first place to look is the structure
That's right.
that we're in the most.
And it truly is. And I think a lot of people pass that up. I don't think a lot of doctors think that way. It's very easy just to associate it with something else, and give you the little pills to pop or the shots to get to make you feel better, which maybe masks the symptoms, but doesn't have the symptoms go away. And, like she said, her son, Rocco as well, who's in the show business side of things, on the movie side as an actor and all of this. As they were growing up, I mean, he was watching his mom suffer. I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with both of them offline. And I think, the story is real. And I think it's real with a lot of people out there.
Yeah. Like when you think, so Detroit based, right? The 313 area code,
Yeah.
there's tons of fresh water. There's tons of natural parks and trees and all this, right? So the exterior environment is great. But what the home has to deal with is constant change of temperatures, huge swings, right? Pittsburgh and Chicago, where you and I are from, are no different, huge swings. And so that impact of being in your home, let's say 80% of your life, if your home is sick, so are you.
Well, that's it. And the most important side of all of this, Mark, is the flashing. We talk about this nonstop on the show. It's always about water away from your house. Water is bad for your house. It's good in your recyclable glass, right? That's what it's good in. It's bad in your house. So, all right, let's get back to this story, shall we? All right, Shemane, weather across the country. I got thunderstorms happening here. So, we were just talking and kind of filling in the gaps a little bit on this, but you started getting sick before Rocco, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And I think, as moms, especially, we end up making excuses. And something that the doctors told me too. Well, maybe you're too stressed. You have a young child. Your husband's gone a lot. I was really doing a lot of bookkeeping and managing several different businesses. So of course, stress does play a role. But I just felt in the bottom of my heart that I shouldn't be feeling this ill.
Yeah. Well,
and when you have that cloud, right, it's hard to think through those parameters. That's why your voice on this topic is so good, so that people don't have to reach as far, right, as to what it is. Start there. Start with your building.
Yeah. I created this documentary, and now I'm writing a book as well, a companion book, where I'm really getting into more details about it. But I wish I had this information available to me 20 years ago. It would have saved us literally our lives. I was in the hospital for a month. I was diagnosed with having pre-emphysema, and I had 4 different types of mold in my bloodstream. Ted did too. And our son Rocco was diagnosed with having severe asthma. He was on breathing treatments. So I would love to help other people avoid what happened to us and avoid the financial strains that, I mean, we lost our whole house. We demolished our home. Like if you ever go to MTV Cribs or search the Ted Nugent MTV Cribs home, we demolished it. It's no longer standing. And we walked away from that with just the clothes on our backs, and we got rid of those because one mold spore is 1/100th the size of human hair. And when it's dead, its natural defense mechanism is to propagate a million times. So, and back then we didn't have proper remediation. We were out in the country. There was nobody who could help us really. And it got so bad that it got into the ductwork, it got everywhere. And we just it was a loss. It was a complete loss. And it caused us to, reconsider where we're living and build a new home and things like that. So it's a devastating problem. And I'm sharing this info to help other people. At least just say, if you move into a new apartment or a new home or even get a new car and you start getting flu-like symptoms, nobody wants to get those these days, but headaches or joint pain or you can't sleep, just get your house tested.
So why don't we talk about that? How does one get their house tested? Like if you have any feeling of something's not right, what did you do? Like to walk us through the sequence of events before you had that, what, black mold's doing this to me? Like think about that. Like there was a moment that your eyes just went like this and you were probably mad at the world that it was your house that you guys cherished and loved and put so much time and effort building, right? Because we all fall in love with what we're building. That's why we build it.
It was our dream house. And not only that, this is back in around the year 2001. We didn't have all the digital media that we do today. I lost all of my son's baby pictures, some of Ted's guitar memorabilia. I don't even want to mention, because it's not even on the radar, but I had nice things. I had just spent $50,000 remodeling the kitchen, getting, the latest, greatest Viking stoves and things like that. And you get a sense of none of that's important if you don't have your health. So that's where it all started with, for me. I had somebody recently, a mutual friend of ours, Dave, asked, where do I start? How do I get tested? I think the most important thing is, what are your symptoms? Tell me your symptoms first, and then, or tell a functional medicine doctor, because the problem is, if you go to a local remediation company, not everyone is created equal. And somebody might say, like they did to me, I'm sorry for your health problems, Mrs. Nugent, but you have no mold in your home. So you have to basically get to a person who has already been going through this, a predecessor like me. Unfortunately, I'm the guinea pig, but other people in your area, to find a trusted remediator, a trusted contractor to fix the problem and to diagnose with which types of mold you have. And because it could be different for every person too, about how they are affected. Like Ted wasn't as affected as I was. Our son had different symptoms, and it depends on your length of exposure and the type of mold that you are exposed to too.
Got it. Really important there. And when you were telling that story, in between the questions, I noted first that where you lived was kind of in the country. So it's not in Detroit, it's kind of in the country. So you're surrounded by fresh air, ability to open your windows, all that stuff. And then you said emphysema is what they were kind of diagnosing you at?
Pre-emphysema, yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, bare naked, Mark. I just wanted to say that one time.
Don't encourage him, Shemane. Do not encourage him.
Title. Look, bare naked, Mark. Bare naked. Okay. I want to get this information out there. We are talking about the quality of air inside your home.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you're in a tropical climate. Doesn't matter if you're in Alaska. Doesn't matter if you're in Arizona. What a good mold remediator or tester will do is they will test the air outside your home to compare it with the air inside your home. Now, obviously, there's thousands of different types of mold, so you want there to be a higher mold count outdoors. If you have a higher mold count indoors, that's a problem. So those are some of the things that you might want to look at in testing as well.
And then in your background, right? So if people hear about your family, they might make a quick assumption that you were also a smoker, right? And
Why
you
would I
may,
make that assumption? I'm a fitness instructor.
right?
Well,
I'm
maybe
saying
not for you, but for other people.
for
Oh,
other people,
yeah.
right? And so your symptoms had nothing to do with a background of smoking. It was
No.
purely the mold. That's another thing to really drive home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It again, an indication like you have to go through the checklist. Did I just recently move? When did your symptoms start? You start working in a new building, or even, to this day, I'm never going to say I'm 100% cured, even though it's been almost 19 years that we've been out of the house, because I can get reinfected by just walking into another building. And we know military housing has a lot of mold in it. There've been problems. There are problems with government building. Another thing that's happened to me is, and a lot of people who have been sickened by mold, toxic mold, is that we have what's called multiple chemical sensitivity, which basically means I'm the canary in a coal mine. I can walk into a room and I can tell if you just painted it, I can tell if you use VOC paint, volatile organic compounds, low VOC paint, or no VOC paint. I can tell if you use fabric softener. I mean, I hate to get so descriptive, but this is a life and death situation. It was for me. It almost killed me. And I want to save you that problem.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, so there's the part of realizing something's wrong, Shemane. How did they personally test you? Like, what did you have to go through to understand that, yes, that it is the mold affecting you, and it wasn't just a trifecta of a multiple of things happening?
Well, we did very, very, very expensive blood tests, both Ted and I. And we, again, found out that we both had 4 different types of toxic mold in our bloodstream. We did hair sample analysis. We did urine analysis. We did a lot of tests. And again, this is in the year 2001, 2002. Nobody was talking about this. Now these tests, you have to ask for them, but they are more available. And for any of your audience who's watching and they go to their general practitioner, their doctor, and they say, yeah, I want to do a urine analysis. I want to do a mold test. I want to do a hair sample. That's why at the beginning I said, find a functional medicine doctor who believes you. Nobody believed me. I was lucky enough, although it took about a year and I went through dozens of different doctors, I finally went to a toxicologist who said, yep, you got mold in your bloodstream. And I'll never forget, he pulled out his little pad, the little doctor pad, and he started writing on it. And I'm like, great, another prescription. I had so many different prescriptions for migraines. And then, of course, you've got different symptoms from that medication that you've got to conquer. So I'm thinking, oh, great, now just one more prescription. But
Right.
this toxicologist wrote on his little prescription pad, get out of the house. And I literally went, hallelujah. Somebody who understands that this isn't just me dreaming all these symptoms up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is one prescription pad I'd like to hang on to, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you, if you have a T-shirt line coming out, I hope it's I am the canary in the coal mine, because that really rang home for me. First of all, we're not happy that it happened to you, of course, right? No one's stepping over that. But the fact that you're the voice now so that other people have a place to go to, you can't emphasize that enough.
Well, thank you. And I feel the same way, but it's not like when I was growing up, I thought, oh, I want to be the mold lady when I get older. That was not on my bucket list, but I think God uses us in different ways. And if I have a platform, I want to use it for wherever God has positioned me. And and I got to tell you, every single day, I get people messaging me through Facebook or Instagram, and different social media that I'm on, and direct messaging, or just calling us, Ted and I, and saying, I think there's something wrong with our house. What do we do? So that's why I did the documentary, just to bring more awareness. And I'm writing the book to get all of the details, tell my whole story, and share this with other people so that they can do their own research. They can become their own investigative sleuth and say, yeah, I think this is a problem for me. I'm going to bring this to my doctor. I'm going to find out what's wrong with my home because I want to feel better.
That's it. And I have, sorry, Mark, 1 second. Jen's going to put the information for the documentary and the website. We're going to have all of this information for you, so don't go looking for it. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more to talk about. We are live with Shemane Nugent, and we are talking about a house that almost killed her, her documentary, as well as her new book that'll be coming out here shortly. So please tune in. And guess what? How often do you get the chance to talk to Shemane Nugent? You got a question? You got a comment? I see them lighting up already. Feel free to ask questions. We will be taking questions here in just a few moments. So go ahead, Mark. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, brother.
Everything needs to be shared like that. So I want to echo a point that you made about the reach of social media there. So someone I don't know but am connected to on Instagram is one of these health coaches. She does it both for the physical aspect of coach, as well as your eating patterns, your stress patterns, all those elements. And I'm not going to name who she is, but she said, I believe there's mold in my ducts. I believe there's mold in my house. What do we do? And I messaged her several times. While I didn't hear back, the contacts I gave her did get reached by her. So sometimes the fact that the word gets out on social media, you might not always know the end of those results, but the fact that you can direct folks to the world of answers and the world of health is great. And that other part you said, not everyone's created equal. That was really well said, right? In the medical community, there are specialists. And so you indicated there's a specific type to speak to. And can you restate that again?
It's called functional medicine, but when I was going through it, it was just alternative remedies. I had a choice when I had the diagnosis of having pre-emphysema, and I don't smoke. I was a group fitness instructor, but I was the one that you'd see in the grocery store with the oxygen mask on, pulling the oxygen cart along behind me. And what my takeaway, my offer for you is that if you think that there's something is wrong, find a doctor who specializes in alternative remedies or functional medicine. Because when you start taking migraine medication and medication for different things like fibromyalgia and joint pain and insomnia, you're literally keep covering the problem. So what functional medicine does, and in fact, right after this, I've got a guy coming to the house. I'm going to be doing a vitamin IV. I've been doing vitamin IVs for 20 years. And functional medicine is basically teaching your body, getting rid of the toxins in your body through different things, different alternative remedies that can heal you and not impair you with drugs, with pharmaceutical drugs.
So is that like a vitamin C flush, or can you tell us what's in it?
So it's vitamin C. It's one of the things that they do call this particular IV that I get. I can't remember the name. It's like for people who have hangovers too. That there's something they call it something for people
Normal
who have
salines. Is it a saline?
Yeah, it's like a saline fluid, but I also
Yep.
put thiamine and a high dose of vitamin C and magnesium in it. And my husband's not a big fan of it. He doesn't like needles. I guess I'm used to it. And I don't do it all the time, a few times a year. But what it does is it just gives you that little extra boost and that kick in your step. And like tomorrow, I'm going to teach a group fitness class, and I'm like, yeah, I could use a little burst of energy. And they put B vitamins in it too. So, and I do different things. There was something called a HOCAT, HOCATT, which is hyperbaric oxygenated carbonic acid transdermal therapy. Basically, like an infrared sauna around you, which is also ozone. So your head is above it and you're getting a vibrational pulse. You hang on to these metal sticks that send a vibrational pulse through your body and help get out toxins and parasites from your body. I'd rather do stuff like that than take a drug.
Mark, imagine what they would find in your beard.
Oh my gosh. Like I'm picturing this chamber like I'm going to be slingshotted somewhere and I want to get in one of these things.
Yeah, you should.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, but I do know, all I can share is my experience. It changed my life. It saved my life. I went to the Environmental Health Center in Dallas, and there was a doctor there named Dr. William Ray who saved my life. Literally saved my life. And I want to just share this information with other people. I was doing vitamin IVs, infrared saunas, and oxygen treatment 20 years ago. And I'll continue to do it for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, eating healthy has been a big role as well. You completely changed your diet after this as part of your therapy and your treatment. And then I think you actually said, well, I started really feeling better than I ever have. And you've continued that. Yes.
Yeah, I did. I found out that, okay, you have to go back to the basics. And for me, the migraines were so debilitating. You'll see in the documentary where my son Rocco, when he was just a little boy, had to call 911 because I was on the floor in the bathroom and I couldn't move because of a migraine. And I had to be rushed to the hospital. And, imagine how traumatizing it was for him.
Right.
So I think it's really important to go, okay, so what is causing my migraines? And I went through MSG could be causing my migraines, preservatives, chemicals in your foods. So I did remove all of those from my diet. Now I want to have a disclaimer here. I do believe that life is meant to be worth living, and I'm not giving up Fritos anytime soon. So
that's the way to go about it.
And I do like, everything in moderation. 80% of what I do and what I eat and how I work out at least 5 days a week. I'm not running any marathons anytime soon. I don't plan on it, but I know that it makes me feel better when I eat better. And again, if I want to have a cookie or a cupcake or whatever it is on occasion, I'm going to do that, especially because I literally denied myself for so long and it still didn't make me feel any better. But I think overall, the 80-20 diet, 80% of what you eat should be clean, meaning removed of chemicals and pesticides and preservatives. Like if it's in a box on a shelf for months or even years, is that good fuel for your body? I don't think so.
Well, in the case of peanut M&Ms, I have to say yes.
I'm with you. That's my go-to. I got a package the other day. It's upstairs, and I have a couple every now and then. Yeah, I'm a big M&M fan too.
If our little M&M guys and gals are out there, maybe you can add some vitamin B and some vitamin C to those little things. Let's go for it.
They do make natural M&Ms. They're not as good. And they're not called M&Ms, but it's made with M&Ms and chocolate and things like that don't have food dye and that kind of thing in it. But again,
that would not work for me. Hey, why don't we go to a couple comments here real quick and say hello to a few people that are out there. Hey, George Ryman, good Friday from Phoenix. And look who Shemane knows this person, Cheryl Sika.
How are you, Cheryl? How are you?
Yeah, Cheryl found out the same way you found out with her family and her kids being sick, and big fan of Cheryl. She was on the show not too long ago. In fact, we'll put the link to this show with Cheryl's show. That way everything kind of gels. What do you think?
Dave, she was on the show just almost 2 years ago. She was one of our first guests. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe Cheryl needs to come back.
She was our second or third guest ever. Amazing lady.
Yeah, very amazing. Very, very amazing. Hey, Mateo Atwee. How you doing, Mateo? Tuning in from Hot Atlanta today. It's good to see you. And I introduced you to this individual, Bob Kelly. What's happened, Mr. Kelly? If anybody knows how to flash it right and flash it tight, that guy there.
Flash it right and flash it tight. Bob, I wish I would have had you on all of the homes that we have built and moved into, because that seems to be the number one biggest problem with builders. And it's even happened to our house that we just built, when we went to the builder and said, look, our house that was on MTV Cribs was contaminated with mold because the builder didn't install the flashing right. So we went to this new builder and said, please, please install the flashing right. And we had, before we moved in, 4 water leaks due to improper installation of flashing.
You know, what part of the what I don't we don't not looking for your
There's
address here.
questions to ask, right?
Texas.
Yeah,
What-
not
what-
looking for your address here. We don't want people to mail you postcards. But what region, what state in the union are you guys in?
We're in Texas right now.
Okay,
And
so
you know what? It's a prevalent problem everywhere.
Right.
Maybe it's bigger in Texas. I don't know. But I have clients who have joined my programs, my Wildly Well program, who are one's in Alaska that had
Right.
this happen to them. So maybe it's more prevalent in Texas. I don't know. But I do know, guys, that we need to step up the education about flashing and water infiltration in building, please.
So
Yeah.
I'll take you one step further and scare you even more. So you're addressing the water on the outside of the home. There's also elements where your wash machine, your dishwasher, your sinks, your
Toilets?
shower pans, certainly, which sounds funny, and your refrigerator, right?
That's
It's got that little line, so you can have this magic thing called frozen water. And those lines, if they break, it spreads everywhere. So there's a growing trend in construction to put pans under those houses with a drain. So when and if an accident happens, that wood and the fibrous material that is a food source for that MOLD word
Mhm.
doesn't get activated.
Yeah.
And it goes right to a drain, and a drain takes it out and vents it away, vents it away, vents it away.
Well, and that's only one of the issues too, right, Mark? And the other issue is, what is coming into the side walls of the house if it's not the proper air barriers and vapor barriers and everything else. So if that's not done right, you run into the same thing, especially in Texas, right? Everybody has AC on inside, but it's 100 degrees outside, right? What's happening? You got that moisture buildup that's trying to transfer through the walls, just like a glass of ice water. When you walk outside in the hot weather, that glass just sweats. The same thing's happening with the house. So flashing is step number 1, but there's also multiple steps that have to happen all the way down to the foundation and how you control that. To
Yeah.
include
So
under the
exciting
foundation.
to hear. It's so exciting to hear Dave talk about the building science. He is a certified air barrier
I went through
specialist,
training.
which is great.
That's right. I can come out and I can inspect your air barrier in your house. For
And
sure.
may I comment on that too? The other problem is with the inspectors that are signing off on homes. Even in some cases, they've never even visited because they are, I'm going to say, in bed, so to speak, with the builder. So we've got to up the status of the whole building construction industry and call out. I think, maybe this is one of the things why this happened to me, so that I can bring this to awareness and help other people prevent this from happening to them. I know too many people who have had situations even worse than ours. A friend of mine was 8 months pregnant and she lost her baby. And the doctor said, "Do you want to find out what happened?" And they said, "Yeah." And at that time, they had been having other problems with headaches and things like that. They moved out of the house, moved into a new place, didn't have those problems anymore, developmental behavior problems with their other son. But they did find out that there was mold in the bloodstream of that baby. So I just got chills.
Right.
It's devastating. It's horrifying. And I want to help stop it and bring awareness to it in any way that I can.
That's a whole can of worms you opened up in that topic right there, between code officials, builders. There is that good old network. I won't say boys because there's girls out there doing it as well. But the reality of it is the code is the minimum. And that's what most builders understand. And they don't understand anything further than that. And building inspectors, they learn the minimum code because that's what they're reading from in the book, not necessarily how to take it to a whole new level. And that's not necessarily their fault, but it's just it's the education that's out there. It needs to be brought to the forefront, and we need to up our game. Mark, I see Mark's wheels going.
Oh, this is great. So there's third-party specialists, and that you said it so well at the beginning, Shemane. Just because they're third-party specialists doesn't mean that's their specialty, right? And so cross-check those referrals. We hope that they're not in bed with the other folks, but they might be, or they just might not be informed. So for the folks that are informed and know how to do that, pass along your example and share it. Bring the cream up, right? And that's our responsibility. It's your responsibility to share what the techniques you're doing. And also we've had a lot of inspectors on the show, the third-party specialists. There's a limitation to what they're allowed to perform. And it's typically the surface review. And there's a whole bunch of disclaimers from the insurance companies about that. That's a deeper dive, can of worms, as Dave said. But if you want a deeper probe, whether you own the house or will be owning the house,
right.
Make sure you declare and commit together that deeper probe into those cavities, ductworks, and what is not visible is to be done.
Yep. I want an aggressive bulldog inspector. If I'm moving into a new house, I want to know about every little leak, every previous leak. I want to test the dirt behind the refrigerator. I want to test the air inside and outside the home. I want to do sample tests on the wall, on the drywall, sheetrock, wherever you are in the world. It depends on how you pronounce it. But I want to know. And I think that consumers want to be more informed. Gone are the days where they just go, yeah, just build me a house and it'll be great, won't it? They want to know what products, the quality of the products that you're using, and the craftsmanship. That's another problem. We have lost craftsmen.
We have lost craftsmen. So there, people, just so you understand, if you are out there and you're on YouTube and you're new to this topic and you're buying a house and your inspector only stays there for 3 hours, you're wrong. Right. That's not how it goes. We have this motorhome that we've been traveling with our Build It Better Roadshow. And when I bought it, I hired an inspector. He spent 13 hours just on this vehicle, right? So there's no way that an inspector is going to inspect your home in 3 or 4 hours, which a lot of them do. They'll throw the radon test in the basement, come back the next day, pick it up, right? But we've had some great inspectors on this show. There are some people that do it right. I mean, they go as far as checking in the ductwork and everything. Those are the inspectors you want to get. And if it costs you a little bit more money, your health is worth it.
Absolutely. And that's the other big thing that is preventing people from getting their homes tested is the expense of the test. My suggestion is, let me ask you right now, before you buy a home, before you get your home tested, just write down on a piece of paper, what is your health worth? What is your life worth? What is the health and life of your family members, including your pets, worth? If you think about it, dogs have 100 times greater sense of smell than humans do. I know that a lot of people have lost their pets as well, and they've had other symptoms that, guess what? If you have a beloved pet and they're sick, you're going to take them to the vet. You're going to give them medication. The veterinarian's going to want to get paid. It's all going to end up, you're going to pay money anyway. So pay that money to get it tested by a recognized and highly rated mold remediator and inspector. If I had it all to do over again, I would have hired another builder who doesn't know the builder, who has no skin in the game, so to speak, and do that. What you said, just go around every nook and cranny. Go, no, I don't like that. No, fix that.
Yeah,
in the world of building science, go ahead, Dave.
Joe Konopacki.
Joe Konopacki,
That's
Lindsay Elton, all these folks, they have the equipment, they have the experience, and they teach it to others.
They do.
In the building science community, we talk about health and comfort because those words land a great deal. And what you said about pets, I'm a dog person, so it lands. Dogs, besides their senses being better than ours, they always know where it's comfortable. They know where to lay down to warm themselves up or to cool themselves. They either bask in the sunshine or they lay on the cool floor. But if your pet, meaning your dog, is sick, you should be hyper alerted that you're next, right?
Yes.
You're next, right? It's one thing that they eat the pork that falls off your table. Let them enjoy it. But
your M&Ms.
but they're
No,
also
not
not the
M&Ms for
M&Ms.
dogs. No M&Ms for dogs. No chocolate for dogs. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Let your pet be the indicator. There's a reason why they're humans' best friend, and pay that forward all the time. You also said the craftsmanship. I want to give a shout out real quick because a regular guest on the show is a high school teacher, and these students build high performance homes. They're tested, verified throughout, and these students just finished their senior year. So good luck in your next endeavor. And that teacher just got Teacher of the Year for the school. When have we seen a building trades program get that award, let alone have that program? So that example is set. Don't try to figure it out. Take that example, bring it to your community, and pass it to the community next year's lightning speed.
Yep, absolutely. And also buoy that inspector, that craftsman who is doing a good job, and give them good ratings on Yelp so that other people can find them. I think that's super important too.
Yeah.
But you know what? God has given us these amazing gifts of our human bodies and our pets. And it's our opportunity, our obligation to create them an incredible environment for them. And our bodies talk to us. If we're not feeling good, we've got to listen to that. The human body has the amazing ability to heal and regenerate. And for that, I'm grateful.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Hey, let's acknowledge some more of our guests in the audience and try and get through a few. There's a whole bunch of chatter going on here. Moonlight Ranch is in the house. We know who Moonlight Ranch is. In fact, if you ever heard of a show called Stackwall on Discovery Channel,
right.
Eve and Delia, our daughters, got to work on that in Montana for a little bit. I bet Shemane knows who that is without saying their name out loud.
I bet maybe.
I bet you do. I bet you do. All right, let's keep going through. We always got to give Greg Ugaldi. Whoops, sorry about that. We always got to give Greg Ugaldi a shout out. Shemane, Greg is the immediate past chair of the National Association of Home Builders. This is the guy that updates the president a couple times a year. When he was in office, he did 2 tours, which usually you're only allowed 1. So Greg Ugaldi, we always appreciate when you take time out of your busy day in Connecticut and Washington, D.C. So thank you very much for joining us. And he says, good to see you, Shemane and Ted. So tell your husband he said hello as well.
Absolutely.
You know, Bob Kelly is in the house. Flashing is not only an art, but a dying art. And he's absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Andrew Seeley somewhere in France. Hey, Andrew, guess what? We know you're somewhere in Texas, too. You guys should hang out with Shemane on occasion. Andrew, now this is a guy that's building prototypes home on his property somewhere in Texas. We don't say it, but he fully off-grid, no utility whatsoever, collects his own rainwater, and it's luxury living. It is not.
Wow.
It is not. So Andrew's a super cool guy, and they do a lot for the veterans, too, which is great.
That's
I love
awesome.
to race motorcycles. So
on the next level, while we have Andrew there.
Did you guys know that? I used to race motocross. Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a big racetrack motorcycle guy. And their event, hey, this is something you guys want to do. Their event is actually a motor speedway event for bikes, raising money to give away to vets. And I think just their organization alone this year, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, I think it was $100,000. It was a lot of money they gave him.
Yep.
They raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't argue with that guy. And he's super cool. So that's,
An interesting thing about that project. So a lot of people talk off grid. They don't quite get what that means. He took it to the next level, waiting for materials to build this next house that they're doing. Is they put in all the solar arrays ahead of time, and they're actually doing the construction using solar power. So not just the house will be solar powered, the construction, even the welding, is all done with that. So that's an example, again, that's out there. Copy it and move like lightning.
That's right.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, hey, Greg Lahoff, how you doing, buddy? This is where a mold-resistant, water-resistant, honeycomb structural composite panel could be of great benefit. I have no idea what he's talking about. What's he talking about, Mark?
Yeah, we know that's your product. And Greg, you have to bring awareness to that. And Speaking of products, Dave had a multifamily producer on Wednesday, and their structures are made out of stainless steel, so
Stainless
that
steel.
there's no surface that can grow mold. So stainless steel is restaurant friendly, and as far as I'm aware, you can't produce mold on stainless steel.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Another thing that people don't realize when we're talking about healthy homes is again, back to the quality of the materials that are being used. A lot of these green homes are basically recycled products, like, let's say, for example, tires. So you've got the smell of the tires and all the products that were used to make the tires. And do you want that in your home? And again, for those of us who are chemically sensitive, I couldn't tolerate it. So it's got to pass a number of tests for me. It's got to be clean, and not using chemicals, and green. And I really do believe that this is a dying art. I agree. It's a dying art. But hopefully you guys are bringing awareness to this problem.
Every day. And as Shemane says, no off-gassing allowed. That's a T-shirt right there. No off-gassing allowed.
That's right. I'll wear that. I will wear that T-shirt. Yep.
All right. Ken Callagher says, what were the building material factors that failed here? And we've kind of covered some of this. Allowed the mold. What allowed the mold? Are there alternative materials to that you recommend? So Shemane, I think first, that house that was on MTV Cribs, that was a log and timber house, if I recall, or was it not? No,
not that one. No,
not that one. Okay.
But again, you're talking about log and timber being the outside of the house. It doesn't matter if it's rock. We're talking about the inside, the interior of the house. And if you're using particle board and you're using products that are going to off gas, that's a whole nother thing. That's why I say, maybe, if somebody thinks that there's mold in their home or they're not feeling well, let's get back to the basics and talk about your symptoms and what could be those illnesses that are causing the symptoms. What could be the products? It might not be mold, but when there is water intrusion, that's like a mover of any of those chemicals within the walls to your floor and to the rest of your house if you have a flood.
Yep. Yeah, and you mentioned odors. So a lot of people, let's say you've had the experience of that new car smell. Like, oh, I just love that new car smell. Yeah. Okay, that's the C, right? That is off gassing. That is the total C that's out there. So your house has a larger volume than your car, and it has thousands of materials, thousands. So when you said the rubber and those different products, literally make a list of every product that you are using, your builder's using, and verify it, right? Check and verify, and state what you will not allow in your house.
Right.
State it.
Right.
We had to go the extra mile and make sure that they used, let's say, for example, there is non-toxic glue out there. You're going to have to use glue. You're going to have to use nails. We always went for the non-toxic option, and people, it might have been more expensive, including the no VOC. I fought. Our builder said, well, I can get the low VOC. Oh no off-gassing allowed. Off-gassing is just the chemicals that are going into the air, and then you breathe that in. It's penetrating your body, and it will give you headaches or flu-like symptoms, sore throat, runny nose, bloody nose, all those other things that you have to be careful of.
And your cabinetry, say your builder is done and then your cabinetry crew comes in, or your closet, right? People love these wonderful closet organizers. That stuff can be more toxic than the stuff. What are we looking at, Dave?
You like closet organizers?
Yeah. Well, I don't, because we built a greenhouse and that it was tested almost daily for indoor air quality. When we were done with the house, we had to come back for punch list. Between the weekend, the closet organizers sat in boxes, and my crew literally left the building because they didn't want to be in there. And then we opened everything up and we brought all that to the garage, and the client still installed it, without us. and your mattresses and your shoes and these things, they could be terrible. Your shoe brings in over 85% of the toxins into your building. So when your mom said take your shoe off, listen and respect her.
Listen to mom for sure. All right, listen, Ken
Uh-oh.
Caligar, yes,
Are
he
you guys
does.
there?
Yep, we're here. So Ken, you have RSG 3D is doing tours of 2 new builds in Houston next week. Now, this is a really cool product that we had on the show not too long ago. If you're not familiar with Ken Caligar and what he's doing, you guys want to check it out, go to RSG 3D. I appreciate you reminding us of that. All right, Jonathan Finewood says, good call. Inspectors are more interested in structural safety issues. It's rare to find one that knows about mold, air leakage, insulation, and the implications.
Yep, his last name says it all. We want to have fine wood, not poor wood.
That's right, Finewood. I love it. I love it. All right, perfect. Last comment from Moonlight Ranch. Hey, Dave, Mark, and Shemane. Great show, guys. Great topic. Needs to be addressed globally. You know, one of the things we didn't do, Shemane, and I see that, is let's just put your site up here real quick. All right, where we go. We got Shemane Nugent. There's the website. Go to it. Because also on this site, you can find her new documentary intro here, and you'll learn where to go watch it at. So you want to go check it out. And, man, we covered a lot of ground, Shemane.
Yes, we did. But thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
And thank you for what you're doing. You're bringing awareness to people. They might not have ever had this opportunity to learn about, you know, building materials and off-gassing and flashing.
That's right. Flashing. That's right.
This is wonderful. I invite everyone that when you take the link, even before you sit down and watch it and get your popcorn and M&Ms out, to first share it. That it's your responsibility to share, and then sit back, watch, and be scared, because you should be scared.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Listen, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow on Coffee with Dave. Make sure you join us. It'll be 9 a.m. Central time, or 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We will see you in the morning. Shemane, stay right there. We'll come back to you after the outro. Everybody else, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your family. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.
Thanks, guys.